Welcome to another amazing episode of Raising Private Money with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, your host, also known as the Private Money Authority. And on today's show, I've got another amazing guest. We're going to unpack step by step exactly how my guest has been raising private money. And he just started a couple of months ago. Well, my guest graduated from Texas Wesleyan University back in 2004. He and his family live out in Abilene, Texas right now, and he's obtained both a master's and a doctorate in nurse anesthesiology. Now, he bought his first real estate investment property way back in 1999, and he did that by using creative financing. And he's remained interested in real estate investing to this day. Now, he bought a few rental units over the years, but it was when COVID-19 came along that exposed the real weakness in relying heavily on his day job. Now, since then, my guest has been active in real estate education and investing with his company, BEHL Properties, out there in Texas. Now, he's most passionate about teaching people how to invest passively in real estate without all the hassles of finding properties, negotiating contracts, rehabbing houses, or being a landlord. So on this episode, we're going to talk about two different topics. Number one, if you're a real estate investor or you're a wannabe real estate investor and you want to learn how to raise private money, we're going to talk about that. Or, as I just said, if you're somebody that's just interested in being passive and not having to do everything that a real estate investor does, and you just want to make high rates of return safely and securely, we're going to talk about that as well. Don't go anywhere, because in just a moment, you're going to meet my special guest, Mr. Kenneth Webb, right after this.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Well, Ken, welcome to Raising Private Money. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay. Thanks for having me here. Great to see you, and great to be talking to you again.
Absolutely. So excited to have you here on, Ken. And as I said in the introduction, I want to talk about actually two different perspectives. I first of all want you to talk about, and us to discuss, how you as a real estate investor, how you have been investing, the kind of deals you've been doing, and how you started raising private money. And then I want us to switch gears after that and talk about the benefits if, we've got some folks in the audience, which we always do, that would be, interested in just being totally passive with their investing. So first of all, Ken, let's back it up and let's begin with, first of all, how did you and I even come to know each other?
Well, that's it was quite a ride for me. It took me a long time to find you, Jay. I didn't know I was looking for Jay Conner until I found him, and it was an accident, but it was coincidental. I believe it was divine intervention. Personally, that's my personal thought on that. I was looking at some other types of investing, and then I was actually listening to a podcast similar to this, and Jay was a guest on that podcast. And I heard what he was saying about raising private money, and it interests me more than the original podcast. And I followed the link to his program, and I've been following Jay ever since.
Awesome, Ken. Well, I tell you what, you are having amazing results on your real estate investing business. Amazing results on raising private money. So how did you get interested in real estate to start with?
Well, it's been a lifelong passion. Back in the 1990s, even I used to see the Carlton Sheets commercials and creative financing, and I just have always had the real estate bug. I'm not sure why. It's just something that's just always been in me, and I've wanted to do it. And the creative financing, of course, appealed to me because, well, we were poor. We didn't have any money, and I didn't have the disposable income to invest in real estate. So I tried that, and I dabbled for, oh my gosh, almost 2 decades, honestly, and just dabbling in and out of it. But there's something that I learned, and Jay says all the time, that most of the people out there want some or all of the money for their property. And I didn't know how to come up with that money until I found the Private Money Authority. So that's why I've been following Jay ever since then.
Well, Ken, what I'm interested in hearing, and the audience as well, what did your real estate investing business look like before you started raising private money for your deals?
Yes, it was very strenuous. It was very difficult. Excuse me. Now, it's still a lot of work. You know, we always say, well, the things we do are simple, but they're really not easy. It takes a lot of work. But basically, I would, look for properties. Back then, we could look in real estate ads, in the classifieds, or those real estate books that we could pick up in the grocery store several decades ago. You don't see those any longer. And basically, you just find the ugliest, nastiest house that you could find on there, and hope and pray that someone would be willing to sell that to you. And I would go and try to get some owner finance terms, get a 0 down, try not to put any money into the deal. And I was only successful with just getting a few leads doing that. So like I said, I just had a few rental properties through the years, and it was very difficult with that being my only acquisition strategy.
Well, you know what I've discovered, Ken, in my own life, and also other people's lives that I've worked with to help them raise private money, there was something usually that came along that triggered the person, the real estate investor, say, hey, man, I just need private money to do my deals. And like in my case, I started investing in single family houses all the way back to 2003, full time since 2003. The first 6 years, I just relied on local banks to fund my deals. I'd never heard of private money, never heard of hard money. Hard money and private money are totally different. Hard money is typically a brokerage that raises private money to loan out to real estate investors. But all I knew to do was go to the local bank, borrow money to fund my real estate deals. And then in January 2009, I lost my line of credit due to the global financial crisis. So what happened in my life was I had a dire need to get funding for my deals in a very, very different way that was quicker, faster, more reliable than relying on the local bank. That's what happened in my life. Ken, what happened in your career, in your journey, that triggered you to say, hey, I need to get some private money?
Well, I would just say the number of leads that I was able to get, I got a lot of no's, a lot of doors slammed in my face, a lot of hung up phone calls. And like I said, it was COVID-19 that exposed the weakness in my job. And I'm in the healthcare, and you think that that's just one of the best industries on the planet. And it is, rightfully so. It has a lot of benefits to it. But we were sidelined with all outpatient procedures, and you could only have emergency procedures. And I was exclusively in the outpatient anesthesia arena at that time. So I was completely sidelined. I had employees, I had a business I was running, and I thought that was not going to be taken away. And then all of a sudden it was, and I needed to generate some leads quickly, and I needed a bigger piece of the pie than what had previously been available to me. And it was pretty simple to say, if I had some money, I could talk to a whole lot more people. So that's what I did. I started thinking, well, how in the world could I find more money? Because my disposable income has been erased by COVID-19, and I'm trying to keep my business afloat, and I was losing money. I was trying to pay employees and keep their families fed. So it was that global crisis of a different kind. Yours was the financial meltdown, and ours was the COVID-19 global crisis that kind of catapulted me into looking for private money and to really increase, my acquisition strategies that way.
Well, you and I started working together a few months ago. You're doing
Yeah.
deals, you're raising private money. So I got a question for you. Ken, how did it feel when you were actually able to break through and raise that first private money and finally realize that it's the private money thing that makes all the difference?
Oh, it was empowering. It was absolutely empowering to know that I was able to use the information that I was taught in Jay's program, and I was able to take that and present it to some people, so one-on-one, and was able to show them a program and a business model, so that it wasn't just some guy asking for a whole lot of money to go invest in this real estate project that was, a sure bet. It was a sure deal. No way you're going to lose money, right? So I've got this great deal. It's just, you won't lose anything, and you really want to give me your money. Well, I didn't have to do any of that. It's a much more professional, and it's much more depth to the program than that. And it gave me the I'm sorry, I'm not getting the words right now, but I felt like I was able to speak with authority while I was giving the presentation, and it put my lenders at ease, and they understood the benefits, and they understood how well they were protected, so that when we offer high rates of return safely and securely, I was able to just list that right out one by one, and it's very appealing to people, especially in this economy.
Ken, the way I raise private money, the way you now raise private money, we talk all the time about we don't ask for money. We're not begging, chasing, selling, persuading. We don't ask for money. So explain, right, how is it that you go about attracting and raising private money for your real estate deals without asking anybody for money? How do you do that?
Right. That's very important. It takes a lot of stress off of you when you're not out there trying to peddle one deal or another and try to explain how this is the right opportunity and the right time and the right moment and all the stars are aligning. So what Jay teaches us is to do that, just that, to teach. And he has his private money teacher shirt on, I noticed today. And it's because we simply talk to people. We simply ask them about if they have investment capital, how maybe it's performing in the market today. Are they getting the rates and returns that they had hoped for? Are they losing? And then we just simply teach them that we have a way, we have a method, that we have a business model that allows them to invest their capital safely and securely. That's just secured by real estate and with fixed rates of returns. And it's very appealing to people. And generally, once you produce the information and you allow people to think for themselves, you don't have to ask for money. You don't have to sell the program. It's just very appealing to someone who's looking for high rates of return safely and securely.
Yeah, Ken, you mentioned I'm wearing my private money teacher T-shirt. And, I used to talk all the time about how do we do this? Well, we just simply put on our teacher hat and we start teaching regular, ordinary people that have either investment capital, perhaps, or they have retirement funds that they're not, happy with the returns they're getting on the retirement. They're sick and tired of the volatility of the stock market. And I used to say all the time, what do? I put on my teacher hat and I start teaching people that I know, I go to church with, they're in my cell phone. We go to the Rotary Club. We go to Business Networking International. And I teach people what private money is without trying to pitch any kind of deal. And I teach the program that you alluded to, Kim, what kind of interest rate they can get, how they're protected, how we're not borrowing money that's unsecured, how it's all back with the real estate, how we're doing a very conservative loan to value to where everybody's, protected. So it finally occurred to me not too long ago. I said, you know what? I need to start actually wearing a hat. This is
Right.
private money teacher. So yeah, I mean, that's the way we go about it. I mean, there's no stress here. There's no pressure. And so when you are talking with potential private lenders, Ken, there's all kinds of ways we go about that, right? I mean, we talk about private lender luncheons. We talk about putting on webinars. We talk about one-on-one visiting. We talk about particular groups that we can join. Of all those different methods, Ken, what have you found to be your favorite methods to exposing people to this world of private money and how they might be interested in becoming a private lender?
Well, I would have to say, when it comes down to it, it's one-on-one because it is very important to have one-on-one relationships with people. This is about relationships. Now, although we do have a business model where you can invest safely and securely, you have secured investments secured by real estate. It still comes down to your relationship between you and the private lender. But I would have been scared to death to do a one-on-one, Jay. I would have not wanted to put myself out there, and certainly not to ask for money. But I didn't realize that I didn't have to ask for money until I was taught this way of doing it. And but I also enjoy speaking to other larger groups of people. I've networked in BNI, the Business Network International. I'm giving a talk at a Rotary Club in just a few days on Friday about self-directed IRAs and how you can use that to invest. But I would say for sure, when it comes down to it, having the one-on-one relationship with people, that's what's going to pass the test of time. That's what's going to keep your lenders really comfortable and coming back and wanting to reinvest over and over again.
Well, with that, Ken, let's give everybody a free gift that is listening to the show right now. And that is my book, Where to Get the Money Now, subtitle, How and Where to Get Money for Your Real Estate Deals Without Relying on Traditional or Hard Money Lenders. So if you are a real estate investor or a want to be a real estate investor and you want to get funding for your deals without relying on traditional funding, you can pick up my book for free, just cover shipping, at www.jayconner.com, and that's with an ER, not an OR, JAYCONNER.com/book. That's Jayconner, JAYCONNER.com/book. And we will send that to you, priority mail. I'll autograph it for you. And this book will lay out for you exactly what Ken is talking about on raising private money. So Ken, let's change gears now and let's talk with people that are tuning in here to the show that would really be interested in being in real estate, but they're more interested in just being passive. They don't want to go out and negotiate deals. They don't want to find deals. They don't want to oversee rehabs. They simply just want to get high rates of return safely and securely just by being totally a passive investor, either using their investment capital and or their retirement funds. So first of all, Ken, let's talk about how an individual can use their retirement funds. Now, again, as a private lender, you don't have to use retirement funds. You can just use liquid investment capital. But my wife, Carol Joy, and I right now, we've got 47 private lenders, individuals that are investing in our deals, and over half of them are using their retirement funds to get high rates of return, safely and securely, and they're getting all those returns either tax deferred or tax free. So Ken, walk us through the process. How can somebody use existing retirement funds to get these high rates of return safely and securely?
Yeah, that's really important. I've found, and that's one thing I love about this program is that you can talk with just everyday people like you and I who maybe they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in liquid investment capital sitting around. But I do have people who say, I've been putting money away in retirement for decades. And I do have, maybe I have 200,000, maybe they have 600,000. So a lot of people have their money tied up in, say, a 401k or a Roth or some sort of self-employed plan that maybe they are contributing to. So you can actually access that in order to invest in real estate. And I was not aware of that. Now, you do have to be set up with a third-party administrator who is sanctioned by the IRS in order to be able to fund these type of investment accounts. There's only a few in the country, and with Jay, we use Quest Trust. I believe that's their current name.
That's right.
Quest Trust, and they have fantastic customer service and have been really great for the people for my lenders who have been speaking with them. So you're not able to just necessarily use your current 401k if it's at Merrill Lynch or Charles Schwab. You would have to move a portion or all of that over to a Roth IRA or a 401k or a SEP. They have health savings plans. They have educational savings accounts. They've got every traditional IRAs. They've got every account that you would possibly need or want to use. And you could use any of those to self-direct your IRA into investing in real estate.
So, Ken, as you've been talking with your private lenders that are now doing business with you, what's some of the feedback that you've heard from your personal private lenders as to why they love the program? Why do they get interested? Why are they now doing business with you?
Well, I can tell you, just about a month ago, I had one of my lenders who called me and was just talking in general about the economy. And he said, I lost $200,000 in the stock market because the auto workers union went on strike somewhere in the country. Certainly wasn't here locally in Abilene. We don't have an auto workers union. And it was actually after that he had decided to come on board with me and to put his money to work safely and securely so that he could sleep well at night. And they really like knowing that they have a fixed rate of return and it's backed and secured by real estate. It's something that they can understand. And it's something that not only can they understand, they can see and touch it. It's actually real property. But here's the crazy thing. We can actually insure that property so that if something were to happen, if it were to burn to the ground for some reason, then their investment is actually insured. He had no insurance from the stock market when a corporation or a board of trustees or someone makes some decision, or there's some international turmoil around the world, and you just don't have to worry about those things. So what I am hearing is, honestly, it's just the peace and comfort knowing that they can sleep well at night, and whatever the rate was yesterday, they're going to be earning the same high rate of return the next day when they wake up.
You know what you bring up right there, Ken, is such an important point. And, our private lenders that we do business with that are funding our deals, the older they are and the more elderly they are, the more important it becomes to them not to have to deal with the volatility as far as the value of their investment.
Absolutely.
And that's a big point. I mean, in this program that we offer to private lenders to invest with us, to invest with you, is they don't have to worry about any value coming out of their investment. They know exactly what their rate of return is going to be. In fact, it's just like putting money in a certificate of deposit in the local bank, except this is backed by real estate. And of course, the return that they get is going to be a whole lot more than the local bank is going to get. And so that point you bring up right there is so important. Our private lenders, they get high rates of return, safe and securely. It's a conservative loan to value, so everybody's protected. And Ken, as you just said, the private lenders are actually named on the insurance policy as the mortgagee in case anything happens to the property. So it just really gives your private lenders that feeling of safety, that peace of mind, that their investment is truly, truly protected, and they don't have to worry about losing their money. You know, Ken, ever since I started using private money and working with private lenders, in all these years, every one of our private lenders have received 100% of every penny that they were expecting from these investments. And of course, you're doing the program, exactly the same way. So here is my bottom line encouragement to our listeners here on the show. And that is, if you're listening right here now here to the show, first of all, I'll tell you, Ken Webb, not another more ethical, honest person on the planet with integrity that says and does exactly what they say they will do. You can count on him. You can trust him. And he's got the experience and he's got the integrity to go with it. And so if you're looking for a high rate of return and you're like sick and tired of the volatility of the stock market, and like Ken just shared, one of his private lenders just lost a couple of $100,000 because somebody else made a decision in that quote unquote fund. Ken, how about give out what are the best ways or the ways that you would have people reach out and contact you?
Yeah, well, I would say the best way would be to email, and these links will be in the show notes. There's a link to my webpage that has my information on private lending. I have some video there about my particular business. I also have two things to offer there with Jay and I. One is a 16-minute audio, and then Jay and I actually did a live webinar together. So that is available for you on demand. All of those are available at that website. And then there's also a calendar link to where you could schedule time to reach me. And then also at that same BEHLproperties.com, if you just emailed me at kwebb@BEHLproperties.com, and that will be in the show notes as well. And that's definitely the easiest way to get to me. And I'm always checking the web page and the emails, and be happy to respond to you.
For those of you that are listening, I want to spell that out that we just had up on the screen. So Ken's email address is kwebb, and that's WEBB, kwebb, the initial K in Webb, and that's at BEHL. So that's BEHL Properties, spelled BEHL Properties.com. Again, his email address is going to be in the show notes, and his URL will be in the show notes where you can listen to those training sessions. But again, for those of you that are listening, that's www.BEHLproperties, BEHL Properties.com/private-money-lending-intro. Be sure and check that out in the show notes to get it with Ken. Ken, final words before we close out this episode.
Well, I just have, I'm so grateful to have met you, Jay, and I wouldn't be here today, not only on your podcast, but I wouldn't be investing in real estate. I was able to break through in real estate and really do the deals I was wanting to do because of the Private Money Authority. So I would encourage anyone who is looking to get their deals, to get their business off the ground. I would follow Jay Conner if I were you.
Ken, thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Jay.
You got it. Well, there you have it. Another amazing episode of Raising Private Money with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority. And listen, so that we can continue to have amazing guests on here and talking about private money. Be sure and share this episode, forward this episode, pay it forward to someone in your world that you know would make a difference to. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell. If you are listening on iTunes or Spotify or any of the other podcast platforms, be sure and follow me so you don't miss out on the upcoming episodes of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Connor, looking forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconnor.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconnor.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Connor.